Hi, welcome back to Cedar Porch Homestead. I'm JR, and this week we're going to bring some life back to this summer garden. We have been in the middle of a drought all summer long. We finally just got a little bit of rain this last week. The temperatures have now dipped to a cooling 99 degrees, so we are out of that triple-digit heat, I hope. But we've been preparing to bring a little revitalization to this summer garden, so let's get to it. So first and foremost, I have to say we had a thriving summer garden earlier this year. We got tons of tomatoes, we got berries, we got beans, we got all kinds of stuff. But then the heat kicked in.
So hot here!
So here in South Texas, we have a couple different seasons that most of the country doesn't necessarily have. We have a few days of spring, we have our first summer, then we have Hell's Back Porch, then we have our second summer, false fall, actual fall. That only lasts a couple days, just like that spring does, and then it goes straight into winter. But right now we are going to be in our second summer season. We just pulled off a Hell's Back Porch, so we're going to get some plants back into this ground so we can have maybe a second summer harvest. But I can't do that talking with you guys. I got to get to work. All right, so we are going to be planting some potatoes and some sweet potato slips right now. We grew the sweet potatoes in our windowsill, so that was kind of cool that we had an organic sweet potato that sprouted. So we put in the windowsill, got a bunch of slips off of it. We're going to put those in the garden today. We bought some organic russet potatoes. They started to sprout at the store and they were like 50% off, so we're like, well, we'll get those as seed potatoes and we're going to put those in the garden this morning. I've also got a couple other plants we're going to put in the garden, and this is how we're going to be kickstarting our late summer garden. And we did all the cleaning the other day, so everything's ready. We just got to put some of these plants in the ground. Love these purple potatoes. Got a few of those we're going to put in. All right, so this was kind of an experimental little tote, and I put lots of leaves in here and just tried to break it down as kind of organic matter. And I tried to do some eggplant, and it just really didn't take, and the soil is just not good for this. But potatoes often will do really well in suboptimal soil. So we're gonna go ahead and throw some russet potatoes in here, and then I'll come back later on and put maybe some good potting mix on here just to kind of let it down feed in as we're watering all these potatoes, and I bet we still get a pretty good yield from it. All right, I got some sweet potato slips that we're gonna put in this low bed over here. And we tried to do some sunflowers. I'm also gonna plant some beans, I think, or cucumbers in this bed. So I think they're gonna be okay working together. All right, real quick, as I'm going to get a couple more plants out of my greenhouse, I will say and share a little bit of this. So here in South Texas, we have really hot summers. Now the heat is one thing. Like this year, we had our hottest August on record. I think it was 102.7 degrees as our average high temperature, which is extremely hot for us. But we had no rain. It was complete drought, and we've been in drought for about the last 3 months really hard. So what happens is we're either going to be hot and drought or hot and tropical. And the problem with that is you've got to be prepared for the monsoons, or you have to be prepared for the drought. So summer gardens are really, really tough. One way of getting around that is doing the raised beds, like what we're doing. We're building up a soil base with those wood chips on a higher end of the property. So that's going to help out a little bit with drainage, but it's really tough here in South Texas. So you really just got to do your best. So we're here in our greenhouse and we're going to take and be planting some pole beans, some bush beans, some watermelons, and some pumpkins. So we're going to be moving those to the garden here right now. So real quick, let's just talk about why it's important to start these off as seedlings and rather than buy them at the box stores as already sprouted from a nursery, because, well, the cost of doing it this way is so much less than if you were to go to any store or anything and buy these on a flat, or I don't know, are these things called a flat? Whatever these things are called, little seed trays. Because especially if you get to the point where you can start seed saving and you can start harvesting from last year's crop, find the plants that really did the best in your area, and those are the ones that you kind of go all in and start to really propagate. Man, that is where I want to get here in the future, is where we have just rock star plants that do extremely well in our climate. And then all of a sudden, those are the ones that we're propagating, we're seed saving, because it's almost not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in life, right? But it is a high likelihood that they're going to do so much better in your climate if they've already come from stock that's done well in your climate. All right, some pole beans. I might do some winter peas later on this year, but for right now, these pole beans do pretty good. And we don't have to overplant these. We don't have to get a ton of these in the ground, because once they start to go, they actually do a pretty good job of giving us a steady amount of beans. And what that does, we're not big on canning. We're just not there yet. So what it does is we can come out here and we can harvest a couple over 2 or 3 days, and bam, we got enough for dinner. So what I think I'm gonna do is, I've had all these separate in the past, but I always like doing some pole beans versus some bush beans, just for a little bit of variety. They kind of grow different. So we're gonna put these bush beans in the same raised bed as we're gonna do these pole beans. And that way we can just come to one bed to get our beans. Not that it's going to make life that much harder or simple, but why not? If I say why not a lot when it comes to gardening, that's because that's kind of my approach. Is if you're going to spend 8 hours a day in your garden, cool. I'm glad you have an awesome hobby. I need this thing to at least make me some food and not take up a whole lot of time, because I mean, we got other stuff going on. I got a full-time job. I've got a wood shop I got to keep going. Courtney's got her NTP stuff going. The girls have school. Like, we live pretty busy lives, so to spend 8 hours a day in a garden definitely is not what we call therapeutic. But we love good fresh produce. So as long as it's easy and as maintenance free as possible, we'll take it. We'll try to do some pumpkins over here in this corner. We'll see how that goes. All right, I have some real small seedlings that we're going to try of some delicata squash. I've just tried this last year for the first time. Turns out a roasted delicata squash is absolutely delicious. We loved it, so we're going to try a few more this year. Okay, so we've got several of our plants in the ground, in the garden. We're really excited about that, but I wanted to show you something I've kind of got set up here in my wood shop. So I'm experimenting with a couple different things because that's all gardening is, especially when you're a backyard gardener, is a lot of experimentation. So what I'm experimenting on right now, I'm using these little bamboo grow stations because they do a really good job of sprouting seeds, but I've noticed as far as getting some good stems without it getting leggy, they tend to be a little lacking. That might be user error, I'm not 100% sure, but I've got another setup over here that I sprout here and I start to grow out over here. Let me show you. So what I have right here, if you can see, is on an east side window, I have gotten another set of grow lights, and now these are a different spectrum. These I think are like red and blue lights, so they're kind of growing on a different wavelength, color pattern. I'm not super smart when it comes to these LED grow lights. These seem to be doing a really good job in combination with the east window because this gets morning sun to where these plants are really starting to thrive and get to a place where they're leaving out really good so I can propagate them and put them in the garden. Now, I've left some over in the little bamboo grow kit, and they just don't seem to really just root in, and they're just not getting all the light they need, I don't think. So I start there, move over here, and then they go to the garden. So one of the things I'm really gonna try to concentrate on this year is successional planting, because if you don't think ahead, then you're already going to be behind. So what we're gonna try to do this year is just keep propagating seeds as the year goes by, because we always want something fresh and new and exciting going in the garden so that we can continually harvest and we don't have a big harvest and then a drought like what we did this year. So if we would have planned ahead, we could have had maybe some more okra already in, and we could have had maybe some more beans already growing. Our summer was so hot, but we could have been trying a couple different things to try to continually harvest. Okay guys, one of the things I've learned, probably the hardest way, is label your seedlings. If you don't label your seedlings, then you are left to trying to figure out what it is that you planted 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I am not super great at identifying these different seedlings based off their just early leaves. So I need to label. I need to find something to label with. Bok choy. Okay, so not super exciting. We played in the dirt a little bit. We got some plants planted. We are going with our second summer garden here in South Texas. We've got our successional seeds started. Those are under the grow lights. They're watered, they're ready to go. So we just now have to wait. Thank you so much for watching this. If you want to see how this progresses, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified when we come out with new garden videos. Or if you're interested in raising your own backyard livestock, we have those videos as well. Thank you so much. Leave a comment below, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on our next video. Thank you so much.